If your company owes HMRC money, how you deal with them over the next few weeks can matter more than the money itself. I've sat across from thousands of directors who've been in trouble with HMRC, and directors nearly always make the same mistakes. They go quiet, or they promise HMRC things that they can't keep. In this video, I'm going to explain what you do at each stage of dealing with HMRC, from the very first sign something's wrong, all the way through to when they're standing in your reception. Now, first thing I want to talk about is the first sign something's wrong. The moment you realise you can't pay an upcoming tax bill, the clock starts ticking. And most directors freeze here. The bill, you know the bill's coming, but you know you've not got the money. And because you don't know what to do about it, you do nothing. You wait and you hope something's going to turn up. Now, for me, that's the most expensive decision you can be making. Because while you're waiting and hoping, three things are happening on HMRC's side. First of all, interest is building. And at today's rates, it's not pockets change. It's nearly 7.75%. Secondly, penalties are starting to get triggered. Late filing, late payment, it all adds up and it's all going onto a debt that's unmanageable to start with. And thirdly, your case starts moving. The longer you wait to get in touch with them, you're drifting up their priority list and you're getting closer and closer to enforcement. Honestly, guys and girls, the longer you stay quiet, the worse your position is when you finally have got to face it. And guess what? You've always got to face HMRC at some stage. So here's what you should really be doing in the first 48 hours when you know you can't pay that next VAT bill. Step one, get all your numbers in front of you. So any tax debt that the company hasn't paid and what's about to fall due. So you know exactly what HMRC is due. Secondly, do a real cash flow. Now, it doesn't have to be complex and it can't be optimistic. It needs to be realistic. Basically, what's coming into the business over, say, the next 13 weeks and what's got to go out, suppliers, rent, fuel, wages, etc. And then you're going to have an idea of what's actually left. And step three, pick the phone up to HMRC and do it before they contact you. Now, either you do it yourself or through someone who deals with HMRC every day, someone like us. Because being the side that reaches out first, for me, changes the tone of everything that's about to follow, okay? Now, the lesson's this. The first sign something's wrong, that's the cheapest moment to deal with this. Every single day that you wait makes it harder. It makes it more expensive. And eventually, your options start to close and shrink. So get your numbers, do a cash flow, pick up the phone. And if you feel you don't want to, or you want some coaching of what to say to HMRC, or you're worried about the specifics of your situation, go to the link in the description. The first link, you can book a call with one of my team today. We've got over 750 reviews on Trustpilot. We've got more than anyone else in our industry. We are rated #1 and we'll give you some free and impartial guidance on what your options are. If you don't want to talk to anyone, I kind of get that. The second link has got a free guide to insolvency. Give me an email address. I'll give you a free guide so I can stay in touch with you going forward, okay? Now, back to the video. There's one more thing about HMRC. And when directors start to understand it, it kind of changes how you talk to them. And it sort of really gives you an understanding of what it looks like from their point of view. Now, what do HMRC want? Well, guess what? It's not rocket science. Their job, in your case, is to recover the money you owe them. That's it. They're not there to punish you. They're not there to teach you a lesson. Most of the agents don't have an opinion on you. They just want to be paid. And here is the bit that they understand that a lot of directors don't. If the HMRC pushes you over the edge into insolvency, they often get nothing at all. Now, once a director sees that, the whole conversation can change shape. And you stop treating HMRC like somebody to like something to outwit. And you treat them like what they are, which is a creditor. with a real interest in keeping your business alive so they can get their money back. You're not on opposite sides. You both want the same thing, the debt cleared. So when you put a proposal to HMRC, you don't beg and you don't threaten. You explain calmly and clearly that the figure that you're offering them is realistic and it's sustainable. And if they accept it, it'll recover the debt in full over a period of time. Whereas forcing the business under would recover far less. Now, you're not pressurising them. You're stating a commercial reality. And they already know it to be true. Now, I've worked with hundreds of directors, but let's call him Mark, okay? He was a building firm. He owed 160 grand behind on the VAT and PAYE. Now, HMRC's opening position was, we want it inside 12 months. And that'd have finished the business off. And I know if you're watching this video, that's what you're being told at the moment by HMRC. We want it inside 12 months. Now, Mark didn't argue with them. He got some advice from us. He didn't get it emotional. And what we did is we helped him put together a cash flow. And we showed HMRC the monthly figure the business could genuinely afford to pay and why it could afford that figure. And in one calm sentence, he made the point. If you force this business under, you will get nothing back. I want to pay you everything. I just need some breathing space. And he'd give them the reasons why he got behind on the payments and what had changed so it wasn't going to happen again. And he gave him 3 years after starting at 12 months. Now, there is a very careful line here because there's a wrong version of saying the same thing. Saying the business can afford X pounds per month and that's the best route for the debt to be repaid in full for both of us. That's a business case. Saying if you don't give me time, I'll just close the company and start another one, you'll get nothing. That is a threat and it will destroy your position. The lesson's simple. HMRC is a creditor that just wants to be paid. And the directors who get the best outcome understand that. And they put forward proposals that get HMRC their money back without breaking the business. You're not fighting them, you're showing them what works for both sides. Now, let's assume you've had the conversation, you've made your case and hurrah, you've got the time to pay arrangement in place. Next is the part where a lot of directors quietly undo all the hard work without realising it. So let's talk about keeping a time to pay arrangement alive. The time to pay arrangement getting set up is not the finish line. It is a contract and it comes with one condition most directors don't fully clock at the start. While you're paying off the old arrears, every new tax bill still has got to be paid on time and it's got to be filed on time. So that means your next VAT quarter, your monthly PAYE bill, the corporation tax that's due once a year, all of it needs to be up to date and paid when it falls due. Because if you miss any of it, even once, HMRC will cancel your time to pay arrangement and demand the full balance immediately. And the hard work that you've done setting up the time to pay can disappear. And I see it all the time. A director gets a decent deal on the arrears, the pressure lifts, they finally breathe out. Then 3 months later, they slip on a VAT payment. And it's so easily done. You know, the money gets spent in keeping the business alive and the whole arrangement collapses and they're worse off than before because now you've not just got arrears, you've got a failed time to pay arrangement. And HMRC does not need to give you another one and it's very unlikely they'll give you a second chance. So how do you make sure something like this holds? Well, for me, it's cash flow management. Don't treat the time to pay arrangement and ongoing taxes as two separate problems. You got to treat them as one monthly obligation that you must meet no matter what. Secondly, ring fence that money the moment it comes in. Let's say a customer pays you £1,000 plus VAT, so it's 1,200 quid. Put the VAT away in a separate account. put a provision away for corporation tax in a separate account. So when both bills come in, the money that you owe them is already there. In fact, if you do that, if you was to put 20% away in the VAT, and let's say you buy things that have got VAT included, you'll have more money in your VAT account than what the bill is. So every 3 months, it's like a bonus in your cash flow that you can put back into your business. Now, getting the arrangement is only half of what's going to save the company. Keeping it means staying current on everything else while you clear those arrears down. And that does mean treating tax money as untouchable from the day it comes in, okay? Now there's one last part I want to talk to you about. And it's the bit that nobody likes saying out loud. And it's the thing I mentioned, I think, earlier in the video. And it's when HMRC actually isn't the problem at all. Because everything I've said so far is on the assumption that you've just got a cash flow problem. And HMRC is becoming an issue that can be managed if they will work with you. And handling HMRC is the solution. And for loads of directors, that's true. The business is fundamentally sound. There is a bump in the road, a sensible arrangement handled properly, buys you time and lets the business recover. But for a lot of directors, the truth's different. The HMRC arrears aren't the problem. They're a symptom of an underlying issue. And the real issue is that the business isn't generating enough profits to cover its costs, even before HMRC. And if that's where you're at, no amount of restructuring or ducking and diving with HMRC is going to save you. Because you can put the best time to pay arrangement in front of them, perfectly prepared. And you're just going to fail it in 3 months because the money you need to keep this business going isn't there. And then you might set up another. You might be able to convince HMRC it'll be different this time, and you fail that one too. And each time you fail one, the hole just gets deeper. Interest keeps piling up, penalties keep stacking up, and you're making HMRC's positions worse. And I've watched HMRC, I've watched directors do this with HMRC for months. Always one more arrangement, always one more quarter away from turning things around. Here is the honest question you want to ask yourself. If the HMRC arrears didn't exist, would the business make money? Or are your costs still higher than your income? Are sales off a cliff? Have you got big overheads that you can't cut? And as the HMRC debt just made it impossible to ignore? Because there are two different situations. If a business would be fine without the arrears, you've got a cash flow problem. If you handle HMRC properly, get enough time, you can stabilise. But if the business wouldn't be fine even without the arrears, you've got a viability problem. And the right move isn't a longer time to pay arrangement, it's proper insolvency advice while you've still got choices. And the lesson's this: the time to pay arrangement is a brilliant tool when the business is sound, other than the HMRC arrears. It can't fix a business that isn't making enough money. It can't fix a business with rampant overheads. And be honest about which one you've got, because the directors who get hurt the worst aren't the ones who spoke to HMRC. They're the ones who kept trying to manage HMRC when they should have been dealing with the business itself. So listen, I hope you found the video useful. And if you're one of those businesses that perhaps, regardless of what you do with HMRC, you've got lots of holes in your bucket and losing your money, maybe you want to consider a pre-pack. And a pre-pack is where you use an insolvency process to shed some legacy debt and you can start afresh. But it's a minefield. It's such a complex thing to go into. But if you want to find more about pre-packs, go and watch that video there. Thanks for your time, Chris Worden.